Hey guys, Jacob with Jacob Comics. Alright, we got a really fun episode. Today we're going to be reviewing Batman Detective Comics 1060 or 1060. And it's got this really cool cover too with the Riddler. It's like looks like he's driving Batman in a taxi and Batman's reaching for him, or somebody is. Kind of looks like Batman. Yeah, that's a Batman clone. All right. Now, before we get dived into the issue, I do want to let you guys know about my 200 subscriber giveaway. And when we hit 200 subscribers, we're going to be giving this book away. It's the Joker #1 Mark Brooks variant cover, and you got the Joker really cool also driving his car, and he's hanging out with Punchline. And I think it's a really cool cover. Not only are you going to win that, but you're also going to get a cbcs sticker, which is the Comic Book Community Awards. And that's kind of like the Oscars for comic book YouTube personalities like myself. And a comic book YouTube channel that's much bigger than me is going to win that. But I'm trying to support them as much as I can. And you guys should check that out on Brian LCS's channel. Alright, guys, let's get dived right on into the issue. And before we do, there's a couple things that we always have to go over. The first off, I do want to let you guys know we're going to go heavy into spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled for Batman 1060, that's your warning. The next thing is we're going to go ahead and shout out the creative team on the book. And as soon as I can find the page that has it, I'm sure it's somewhere. Okay, put it. They put it probably at the back here. Okay, so we have Mariko Tamaki and Nadia Shamas are the writers. Ivan Reese is doing the pencils. We have Danny Mickey doing the inks. Brad Anderson doing the colors, and Ariana Maher doing the letters. And it says Ivan Reese and Danny Mickey on the cover. All right, so let's get into the issue. Now, to start off, we're on a date with, as we saw in the last issue, we're on a date with Bruce Wayne and Caroline, and so they're kind of on a date, and it's going pretty well. Bruce even orders a second round of wine, and as they're drinking the second one, they're kind of talking, and let's see. She says, "No one who works in the justice system uses a word like innocent. It twists depending on which way the wind blows." And Bruce says, "I see." Carolyn says, "I'm not sure how many parking tickets you've left unpaid, even as a billionaire." And Bruce says, "Former billionaire, and none." Caroline says, "Bruce Wayne has no crimes to cover up, not even a fender bender." Bruce says, "I've made many mistakes, but I've paid for them all. Believe me." Caroline says, "I must sound very jaded to you." Bruce says, "No more so than anyone else in Gotham City. When you're just trying to hold on to a belief, some grip on a sense of justice, sometimes the wind can feel stronger than you." Carolyn says, "I was starry-eyed once at the thought of changing Gotham. It's funny how every person looks at the rot, the brokenness, and thinks they'll be the change. There used to be a lot of starriness to go around. But when you're staring at those little pinpoints of light, you don't notice how dark most of the sky is. There's more injustice than there is justice, Bruce. Injustice isn't baked into the system, it is the system. We let some people off with a slap on the wrist, and others get hit with the full extent of the law, and innocence doesn't come in once." And Bruce says, "But when you affect that one person you know if you get them, Gotham would be safe. Someone will be spared from them, that feeling." Carolyn says, that feeling is why we do it. And they both touch each other's hands intimately, possibly. And so Bruce drops her off on her date. She compliments him on being such a gentleman. And as soon as the date's over, Bruce takes off to get to his garage. And we have a Riddler monologue, or Riddler's show for the night. And he says, "Good evening, Gotham City. It's the witching hour, and that means all the creepy crawlers are out. Spiders and spirits and bats, oh my. But will the real menace of Gotham please stand up? Citizen criminals? What a concept. Well, riddle me this, Gotham. If justice is blindfolded, who tied the knot? And who's got their finger on her lovely scales? Because when the scales fell from Saul's eyes, he saw clearly." And Bruce says, as he's watching the display on the TV, Sarah Pett isn't seeking legal counsel, pleading guilty to all charges. And John Harper's gas was non-lethal after all, no deaths. But he'd rather die than be caught. Why? And where is Carolyn in all this? And Batwoman buzzes in and says, "Batman, are you there?" Batman says, "Getting you loud and clear." Batwoman says, "I just got an SOS from Deb Donovan. It looks like there's a break-in at the Gotham Gazette." Batman says, "It's the middle of the night. Is anyone else there?" Batwoman says, "Just her. Says she heard the door smash in and went to hide before sending this out to me." Batman says, "I'll be right there." And so he arrives at the Gotham Gazette, and just a really cool panel layout here of Batman arriving at the Gotham Gazette, and then kind of scaring the lady who called Batwoman, excuse me, and she kind of almost hits him in the head and says, "Oh, you scared me half to death. I thought you were the dang burglar." And so Batman's talking with her about calling in the SOS, and she says, "Yeah, I was actually afraid because I have a bunch of information on the citizen criminals, and so I was thinking maybe they might be coming after me next." And so Batman uses his eye detectors to look, and he says she's right. A quick forensic scan, someone kicked the door in, a brunette. And then so now he's back in the lab with the hair sample that he got, and we have Oracle coming in on the loudspeaker. And Batman says, "I don't have a connection between the perpetrators themselves." And Oracle says, "Well, that's why I'm here to help. But I have another connection. The Donovans. Deb Donovan took out a massive loan from Gotham Bank during her most recent divorce. The same branch John Harper gassed. Martin Ashen is the DA's brother. The same DA who is almost always assigned to Caroline." And Batman says, "And Caroline almost always rules in Ashen's favor. It's not enough. Why the bombing? Why these people? And why the Donovans?" And it turns out the hair sample is Darby Turner, so a match is found on Batman's computer. And so he asks Oracle for a location on Carolyn, and she says, she just arrived at her house, and Riddler has left Caroline a note. She picks it up, and we get more Riddler, and he says, "We're in the countdown now. It appears violence is baked into the fabric of our very lives these days. Don't fret, my little chickens. All things must come to an end, dear Gotham, and over time, answers give way to new mysteries. And when an original lesson is forgotten, All we have are the questions that we started with. We're back to the beginning. When is a murderer not a murderer? And you see Batman looking over Darby Turner in her house, and she's like, "What can I do for you, Bruce?" And Batman says, "When was the last time you saw Darby Turner, Talia?" Oh, he's at Talia's. Okay. And so Talia, yeah, that's right, I'm sorry. And so Talia, yeah, kind of gives him saying, her family's ruined. I hear she's been running a small time money laundering scheme for some rough gentlemen downtown. And Batman asks where he can find her, and she says, "You know better than me." He's like, "Playing coy doesn't suit you. You know more than you're letting on." She says, "Of course I do. Have you been watching Riddler's messages? They're for you, you know. I wouldn't miss the next one." Batman says, "Talia." Talia says, "I'm not the person you should be interrogating. I'm here for my own affairs. But Bruce, you must know this isn't personal. Edward just wants to play." And then we see Carolyn's mom, Deb Donovan, or I thought it was her mom. It's the reporter Deb Donovan, I guess. I'm sorry. And comes up on this lady, and she's saying, I heard you had some information. She says, "Yes, I do." And then we see Batman calling all units to the Gotham Gazette, calling all units. And Oracle says, "Batman hostage situation at the Batman Gazette." And we see this girl has Deb Donovan, and she says, "I got this whole place rigged with C4 and I'll start firing." And Deb says, "It doesn't have to be this way. Just tell me, what do you want?" And this lady says, I want every judge and cop and lawman in Gotham to have their secrets aired to the world." And Deb Donovan says, "What? That's not a practical thing. That's fantasy. It's impossible." And this lady says, "Well, then you have to make it possible." And so Batman comes up and says, "Darby Turner, put the gun down. Whatever reason you have for doing this, we can find a solution." And so she tries to shoot Deb Donovan, and Batman throws his batarang and knocks the gun out of her hand before she can. And unknown at this point guy comes running up and says, "Darby, no." She calls him Green, Perry, so Perry Green. And they kind of seem to be like in this predicament by the Riddler together, because they're talking about how they're blackmailed together and they should just give up and let Batman help them. And the lady Darby, she goes to jump off the ledge and try to commit suicide, and Perry says, "Darby, no!" And Batman jumps into action like Batman does, and leaps to the rescue, and he catches her before she hits the ground and saves her. And Darby comes up, he's like, Is she? And Batman says, "She's fine, just unconscious." And Darby's like, please help us, I can explain everything. The envelopes tell us what to do. And at that same time, he's shot in the back by who but Caroline. And so Caroline, and she says, "I'm sorry, please don't make me kill you too," as though she could kill Batman. But okay. And so then we go to the backup story, and this is part 2 of the Gotham Girl story. And she has just come upon her friend at high school who's apparently committed suicide. But she doesn't believe it's suicide. She's like, "No way." And she's like, "I need to call 911, but not as not as Gotham Girl, as my alternate identity." So she calls 911. They show up. Then a police officer lady is kind of trying to interrogate her, and then Chase Meridian shows up and is like, "We can take it from here." And she's kind of relieved to see Chase because she actually knows her, and so then at the same time she has already grabbed uh, her friend who she thinks has been murdered, grabbed his laptop, and she takes that with her and goes flying away after talking with Chase for a little bit and promising to be at the next meeting, right? At her next meeting, counseling and stuff. And so then she's back at the abandoned Wayne Manor, and she's got some fast food, and she's talking with her stonehead friend again, and asks if he would pass the salt. And it's actually kind of starting to grow on me a little bit. Honestly, it's a little bit endearing. So then these guys break in, they throw all these gas bombs and stuff into her area, right? And kind of capture her in a net, but it's Gotham Girl. She ends up just breaking out of the net, and she's like, somebody else was running that site, but he's dead, and all I've got is his dumb computer to figure out who killed him. Except no one will leave me alone and give me one darn minute to think. Now, either you all can help me figure out how to hack this stupid laptop so I can stop the site from leaking more gossip, or you can all end up in the hospital for not being off your and minding your own business. To cut the but so yeah, she it's kind of funny because she has his laptop, and his laptop, he's programmed it to be like sending out all these messages for Gotham Girl, and not pretending to be Gotham Girl, but kind of sending her in the right direction of the bad guys, basically. And so the bad guys have showed up at her place now, basically, to stop her from doing this because they think it's her. And she's said, it's not me. And so if any of you guys want to help me fix this laptop and know better than me, then you can. And then so a slice or two of pizza later, the one mercenary says, "Okay, this code should bypass the malware bomb Andre set up in the case someone tries to hack the computer." And Gotham Girl says, "That worked. How are you Black Ops people so good with tech?" And one of the other guys says, "How does a fountain cola always taste better than the bottle or the can?" And so it's kind of being jokey. And then so she finds out that Andre wasn't trying to put a target on her back. He was actually trying to give her targets to go after, right? And she's found a folder inside dedicated entirely to Arkham, confidential files, briefings on some research project led by Dr. Meridian, emails with her, and she's like, "Damn, I guess I should have been attending my meetings." And so then she barges in basically to Chase Meridian's office, and the security is like, "Code white, code white. She's not attacking anyone, just floating by." And she throws her gargoyle head friend on one of the guys, and he tries to catch it, but it's too heavy. And so then she goes into Chase Meridian's office and basically says, "You really thought you'd get away with killing someone?" And just smashes her through a window. So I'm not sure exactly what she found on that laptop, but yeah. I don't know. I want to say 1060 was like a lot better than 1059. You had our heroes actually both the front story and the backup story. We have our heroes kind of trying to solve a mystery, and it is called Detective Comics, right? So we're getting a mystery, and we're gonna solve it, and we're gonna see. I'm liking it, man. I'm really enjoying it. If you saw too the panels that I showed you, the the front art team, I really do enjoy their artwork, and the back one is honestly just right for what the story is. It's a little bit more. The line works a little more simple and not as well defined, but still right where things are supposed to be. So the people look proportional or showing emotions, or it's a different art style. It's hard to explain without showing you. I feel like this is a really good way to explain. So if you see right here how the faces kind of look there, and then this art team, how he kind of does his faces, right? So both are good, just just different styles, and I kind of feel like the styles match the particular story that they're telling really well. Um, yeah, I'm enjoying this the story that Mariko Tamaki's telling. It's kind of similar to the movie, but I feel like we're not gonna have the same ending, and you know it's gonna unravel a bit differently. So I'm excited to keep reading, and like I said, I'm a Batman and Riddler fan, so I give Batman Detective Comics a thumbs up. And yeah, if you guys like this kind of content and have stuck around this long in the video, remember like, comment, and be subscribed to the channel for your chance to win the Joker #1 Mark Brooks variant cover. And if you guys do like this kind of content, hey, click the link below and shop on my eBay store, and I'll send you some comic books. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow, and have a great day.